and welcome to CBC Manitoba. As we get ready to usher in the new year and look forward to 2025 and all it has to bring, we thought it was only fitting to take a few minutes to look back at the year that's been.
This is a chance to look beyond the top stories that made headlines in our province to some parts and pieces of Manitoba that you might have missed. This holiday season, these are some of the stories that stood out to us from communities we don't always hear from. For the next 30 minutes, we hope to show you the sights and sounds of Manitoba through a different lens.
We start with a trip up the east side of Lake Winnipeg. It's a pristine wilderness area home to 4 First Nations and 2 provincial parks. It's known to locals as the land that gives life. Earlier this year, CBC Manitoba spent a week in Poplar River First Nation.
It's home to the largest stretch of untouched boreal wilderness left on Earth. It's a special place for one 23-year-old who is learning to love the land. CBC's Josh Crabb went upstream on the Poplar River to find out more about Land's Guardian, who helps protect the land.
Poplar River First Nation, northeast of Winnipeg, is in an area known as Pimatuan-Ake. It became a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2018, one of only 40 mixed cultural and natural sites in the world. It's part of the largest stretch of untouched boreal wilderness left on Earth, home to millions of trees, hundreds of lakes and rivers and wetlands, and it's the ancestral home of the Anishinaabe people.
I never got to enjoy it as a kid as much as I would have. But now I get to come out here and just live.
That's because now Owen Bear is Poplar River's Land's Guardian for the largest protected area in the North American Boreal Shield. The 23-year-old has many roles and responsibilities, which involve going out on the land, typically heading upstream on the Poplar River to access the wilderness using a motorboat.
A Land's Guardian could be many things. There's a lot of stuff that go on in the community. Our job is never the same, so there's always something new to do, such as going outside collecting samples for the dirt in muskegs or water samples.
Muskeg samples are to check how dry the land is to monitor the risk of forest fires, which have previously ripped through this area. Water samples are used to measure water quality. Part of Bear's job also involves checking on shoreline erosion and water levels.
A lot of times these fishermen travel through channels, and depending on high or low, there could be a rock in those channels because of the effects of the water depth.
Poplar River Fire Chief Willard Bittern navigates the channels with ease, but it can be more challenging when water levels are higher.
It's really dangerous because they're really getting big, they move fast.
He travels up and down the Poplar River. Using it to access the land is a tradition. People hunt and fish. Bittern has a cabin along the water where he spends a lot of his free time.
I've been traveling this river, I don't know, so many years with my kids, my wife, and hunting buddies. It's a beautiful place. I come here with my family, my grandchildren now. Sometimes it's so peaceful, quiet. There's no vehicles, no dogs barking, nothing.
This whole area, which covers more than 29,000 square kilometers, is legally protected from all commercial logging, mining, hydroelectric development, and all waterways are free of diversions and dams.
Well, I've always prioritized our traditional territory first. We have that protected, it's legislated, and then Pimatuan-Ake comes over it as sort of an added protection.
The area is about the size of Belgium and is home to 4 First Nations: Poplar River, Pungassi, Little Grand Rapids, and Bloodvein. Each community has its own Land's Guardian. Poplar River First Nation councillor Ed Hudson serves on the board of directors for Pimatuan-Ake. He says the land is important to people here.
To me, the main thing is the land to be left intact, just the way it is in its natural state, because it produces healthy animals that gives us sustenance. Like the little animals we harvest, they need good clean water and good clean land for them to be healthy as well.
Bear puts song meters out on the land and sends the recordings to the National Audubon Society, which monitors birds and their habitats. Researchers with the Canadian Wildlife Service and the University of Manitoba Natural Resources Institute have also conducted migratory bird monitoring surveys in recent years, using data gathered in Pimatuan-Ake.
I think it's a really beautiful place, and it is one of our traditional lands that we have the right to People have been going there years and years.
Bear is also responsible for preventing overhunting or illegal hunts and making sure elders' wishes are respected. As a land's guardian, Bear hopes he can encourage more people to start eating traditionally, help restore wildlife populations, and preserve wildlands.
Feels good to connect on the land, connect with myself, and see our beautiful land and enjoy it.
And he hopes to make sure people here can enjoy it for generations to come. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Poplar River First Nation.
If you've ever gone fishing, you may remember the thrill of catching your first fish. CBC traveled to the Island Lake community of Garden Hill to join a group of young people. The teens were tasked with laying out nets for the very first time and coming back the next day to check out their bounty.
Jack Harper was there to show them the ropes. He uses hands-on learning to teach students how to live off the land and keep traditions alive. Here, it's not just about the excitement of reeling in that first catch, but learning the lifelong skills that those in the community are passing on to younger generations. CBC's Aaron Broman and Tyson Koscheck bring us this story.
We're gonna go fishing!
My name is Jack Harper. I'm from Garden Hill. I'm the cultural exploration teacher at the high school. It's an outdoor event, activities that I do. When you see 4 walls in the classroom, you don't see anything out there. So this is a good place to get them to do a hands-on learning.
I like being outside. I just like watching them fish. But I never really went to fishing.
Okay, who's checking the net? Okay, you gotta take it out.
Yeah.
Grab the eye.
I don't want to grab the eye.
Yeah, grab the eye.
I'm scared.
I want them to carry on. Like me, I was taught to do things like this from my father, my late father. So I have to continue on. These are the things that I want them to continue on. And I know they'll remember it.
What if it bites me?
If you put your hand in the mouth, it'll bite you.
Oh, you! Oh. Gross. Grabbing the fish out of the net. He's so slimy. That claw thingy.
Over there at the back. See that back?
It's a sharp thing. You go like that.
They go home and I learned this over there. I'm pretty sure they're gonna tell their parents. Almost there. Like I like to continue on with what I was taught. Imagine when you fish with
I felt like the fish is gonna bite me.
What about for you, Cherish? What did you think that was like to get the fish out of the net?
It was
Was it heavy?
yeah,
Yeah.
really heavy.
Have you done that before?
No. And then you kiss the fish. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh, good luck. Just kidding.
This thing made of bannock. It's called a fish bannock.
Caviar.
Caviar hotel.
Fish eggs.
What's the word for fish in your language?
Gnose. Gnose. Gnose.
Mosaic.
That's how you take the bone out. Sometimes older people boil this, boil that head to eat it. Not me yet. And then fried, I need it.
You have to know what you're doing. I know what I'm doing by doing it, not watching it. You have to do it yourself.
After the break, we'll show you how Manitobans are trying to embrace our long, cold winters.
We'll bring you a story about how we try and keep our province moving in the winter.
It's how Bombadiers are used here in St. Laurent. He took us out onto frozen Lake Manitoba to check his nets, reopening the holes with an auger and a shovel.
Plus, we will have a little fun on Lake Manitoba. We'll be back with more stories from our province after this.
Oh, there you go. A sucker?
Yeah.
Welcome back. As winter bears down on Manitoba, highway closures are inevitable. Those closures, especially on the Trans-Canada Highway, can cost the Manitoba economy millions of dollars.
But work happening along the province's busiest east-west corridor could help mitigate highway closures while also helping the environment. I took a look at some of the work being done to restore Manitoba's shelter belts.
This is the Trans-Canada Highway west of Winnipeg, a busy 4-lane highway, an important east-west corridor, and a big driver of Manitoba's economy. But it's also wide open and exposed to the elements. That makes this section between Headingley and Portage-la Prairie especially prone to winter closures. It's been closed 24 times due to poor winter conditions in the last 5 years. Aaron Delinick with the Manitoba Trucking Association says those closures cost a lot of money.
If you look at like 1 hour of a delay, just the traffic that's involved in a 1 hour delay on the Trans-Canada Highway, it'd be thousands and thousands of dollars, probably tens of thousands of dollars.
During the first 3 months of 2022, 5 closures of this stretch of Highway 1 cost operators a combined $3.2 million, factoring in time, delays, and fuel. But the Manitoba Habitat Conservancy is working on an eco-friendly solution, something that would help keep this highway open while also helping the environment. It's been working to plant this shelter belt, 3 rows of trees and shrubs. Habitat conservation specialist Kathy Murray says these trees were strategically planted to help act as a windbreak.
In the winter especially, that'll help reduce blowing snow and just make highway conditions safer is the overall goal.
The province invested $3.5 million in 2020 to plant some 30 kilometers of shelter belt along what is considered one of the worst sections of highway in the winter. All trees planted here are native species to Manitoba that have been proven to be able to withstand the elements.
Shelter belts like these have a number of benefits. Not only do they protect the highway from blowing snow and high winds, but this ecozone itself is home to a number of different plant and animal species. And they protect fields like these from topsoil erosion.
So far, the Conservancy says this shelter belt appears to be working.
People seem to like it in general. There may be a little bit of windbreak value, and we see little bits of snow collecting in the trees and in the ditch, so it's something to start with.
But the Trucking Association would like the province to do more. These trees are still years out from having any major impact on driving conditions. Delinick says 24-hour plowing and more digital signage with road conditions are things the province can do now to improve safety.
In a lot of cases, a lot of trucks plan to go at night when there's less congestion. So right now, if there's a snow event in Manitoba, let's say it happens at 7 o'clock and it goes throughout the night, it's not likely to be touched until the early morning hours.
The province says it is committed to increasing how often highways like this are plowed. But it says it needs newer equipment and more people to make that happen.
Road conditions can vary quite a bit from what we see right here around Winnipeg. So just informing motorists ahead of time what to expect when entering the Trans-Canada Highway would go a long way.
The Habitat Conservancy says 2024 is the last year of the Shelter Belt program. The province hasn't said yet if it will be extended.
The hope is, after a bit more research into the growing conditions in particular of this shelter belt, that trees like these could line other open highways in Manitoba. Riley Laychuk, CBC News, near Portage La Prairie.
Whether it's snowmobiling, ice fishing, or skating on the river trail, Manitobans certainly know how to embrace our winters. In St. Laurent, some still use Bombadiers snow coaches decades after they were made as transportation and shelter to handle the harsh conditions on Lake Manitoba.
Emily Brass gives us an up-close look at the machines as part of our Communities in Focus series.
They look part snowmobile, part magic bus. There are so many Bombadiers in St. Laurent. They're part of the community's identity.
Some people call us the capital of Bombadiers and also, you know, the Métis capital of at least the country. And there's probably somewhere around the 40 or 50 of them, I'm told. So you come to St. Laurent, you're going to see some Bombadiers.
The big machines can be spotted all over the rural municipality, and they even have their own road signs. So why are they so popular here?
The Bombadiers are really important because the main industry here is actually fishing.
Bombadiers can take people where other vehicles won't go.
It's not very modern here, so it's an older one, but yeah, here's a dash and it has all the switches, all the gauges work and everything.
Mike Chartrand is a commercial fisherman born and raised in St. Laurent.
I've been around this since I was a kid. My dad had one when I was a kid already, and I was always hanging around and was just learn as I go, right?
Bombadiers are spacious with a wood stove to keep you warm, important when you spend your days ice fishing.
Sounds like it's running great. I can't wait. Here I go. It is comfortable. Just slam it? Yeah. All right.
Mike took us for a tour to show us how Bombadiers are used here in St. Laurent. He took us out onto frozen Lake Manitoba to check his nets, reopening the holes with an auger and a shovel.
I'm being put to work. I'm going to shovel down to the hole. Right there. Oh, it's harder than it looks. Yeah. Ooh, there's that water.
We pulled and pulled on the nets, bringing in a small catch.
Oh, there we go. A sucker?
Yeah.
And so these are good for eating?
Yeah, you can can them. Yeah, you can can them like a mixed salmon.
They don't do like they do, you wouldn't fry it up like you would.
No,
okay.
You can it like salmon.
Okay.
You can it like salmon.
I gotcha.
We also caught some pickerel, or walleye, the most desired fish on the lake. Then it was back across jagged ice and stiff snowbanks with Mike behind the wheel, steering the Bombadier safely back to his yard.
In Manitoba, Bombadiers are known as the ultimate ice fishing machine, but they were invented back in the 1930s for a different reason.
The first Bombardier was designed in Quebec by Joseph Armand Bombardier in 1937. He got the idea after his child died during a blizzard. The family couldn't reach the hospital in time because in those days there was no public snow clearing of roads. The snow coaches were initially used as school buses and ambulances and for delivering mail and supplies. Mass production began during the 40s when the coaches were used for wartime needs. By the end of that decade, municipal snow clearing became the norm and sales dropped dramatically. Attention shifted to Bombardier's newer invention, the Skidoo, and the company stopped making snow coaches in the late 70s.
These doors are brand new, they're just made. I bought them, Buddy made them for me, right? These are brand new.
The Bombadiers that are still around need to be maintained like Mike's 1957.
The belting, make sure it's not all cracked up and worn out too much, right? So you gotta keep an eye on that. And then you got the cleats, you also want to see if there's not too much wear or they're starting to break, then you might have to change some of them, right?
Mike only buys new parts, many of them custom made. The engine is a brand new Chevy V8.
If you're a handy person and you can do a lot of work yourself, good. But if you gotta pay somebody to put it all together and get the parts are expensive.
But for Mike, all the money and work is worth it since the connection to the lake and his culture is invaluable. Emily Brass, CBC News, St. Laurent, Manitoba.
We need to take another quick break, but we'll be back right after this.
Researchers at the University of Manitoba and a First Nation are working together to develop smarter vegetables.
It's a way to grow fresh food year-round in our hardy northern climates. Karen Pauls reports.
So these are broccoli sprouts. These are actually
This sci-fi looking lab is what's known as a vertical smart farm.
We grow up to day 10, harvest, and then package, ship down to Winnipeg.
And there's no soil?
No.
Full spectrum LED lights mimic sunshine.
Just gonna water these guys, give them
Artificial intelligence controls temperature, moisture, carbon dioxide, and nutrient levels.
So they're looking at different wavelengths and different times of growth to see when is the best time to harvest them so that they will be the most nutritious.
Yes, that's correct.
Researchers have found stimulating production of specific compounds in vegetables, like potassium and manganese, makes these veggies more nutritious than grocery store produce.
Typically 2 times to 11 times higher, right? Especially the manganese was very high. Then they can consume much less, but they still same benefits.
Almost half of the adult population in this remote northern community is suffering from type 2 diabetes. Leaders say there's an average of 3 diabetes-related deaths every month. And part of the challenge is encouraging people to cook and eat these smart vegetables.
I'll be honest, the first 4 months of working here, I didn't really eat the product because I was scared of it. There's a lot of stigma that we were met with. People were like, oh, it's artificial, it's fake food.
So, food scientists developed recipes, cooked them, and brought a meal to the local shopping mall.
Would you like to try some chili with kale? You don't notice it that much. And then we just have some sage and kale cornbread muffins.
Tastes more healthy, more natural. Yeah, that's what I think.
Have you ever eaten kale before?
I don't even know what that is.
Kale, first time trying that, and with everything else, it's great.
Do you think you might cook with this more often?
Yes, for sure.
The goal is to educate people on how smart veggies contribute to a healthy diet and ultimately save lives. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Opaskwayak Cree Nation, Manitoba.
Thanks for watching this special look back at some of the stories that stood out to us over the last year.
See you next time, and happy holidays.
Bye.